Hello, welcome and welcome back. My name is Tony and this is Reading the Bible in a Year. Today we're going to be covering Job 38 and 39, and tomorrow we're going to finish the book of Job. We'll be all the way through it, so if you made it this far, congratulations. We'll be through tomorrow. We'll be through the whole book of Job. We've got a whole book of the Bible studied, and that's an amazing feat for me. Might be amazing for you. I hope that it is. One thing, a few updates before we get started. Again, if you don't like this, you don't want to hear me blab. When I put on my glasses, that's when the lesson really gets started. So if you don't know, you can push on the right side of your screen and watch this in double time, or you can do a quick 2 taps and quick, it goes 30 seconds at a time, and you can get to where I put my glasses on, and that's when the real study starts. So, first thing I want to mention is man at my church. His name is Michael. He started doing this outreach with teddy bears, basically bringing these small bears into hospitals just to give sick people something to hold on to when they're sick. He's done this before and found it to be a real blessing for people. Just this little teddy bear, just something that someone gives them to help them through a hard time when they're really sick. And the other motive is we're also bringing Jesus to people through that bear. By bringing that bear and giving them something, hopefully we're opening the door to allow them to get Jesus in their life. And that's a real blessing. But he could use some help. How you can help, again, if you don't have the money, I don't have the money. But if you do have the money and you feel blessed, I'm going to put an Amazon link on the bottom. I don't make anything from this. But it's a big purchase. It's like 18 bears worth. But they're $71. That's only $4 a bear, and every one of those bears has the potential to bring Jesus into somebody's life. So if you want to, I'll put that link on the bottom. Don't feel inclined to. I'm not pushing you to do anything that you don't feel comfortable or inclined to do. But if that speaks to you, it'll be there at the bottom. Secondly, as I've been thinking about Job and the lessons that we've been learning in the last several days, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but man, I'm thankful for the hard times. If I didn't have the hard times, for me this year in 2024, if the things weren't so tough financially, if things just weren't so badly, for me to need to reach out for help, then probably wouldn't have. If God had just let me win the lottery, honestly, I'd probably be on a big, huge boat, with 400s on the back, chasing down tuna out in the ocean or something, or jet skiing around out in the water, or continuing to put God very last in my life. So I'm glad that he actually didn't let me win the lottery or get some big 6-figure job that would honestly keep me farther away from God with who I am. So like Job, I'm actually thankful for the hard times, because for me, it brought me closer to God this year. And I think this year, reading the Bible and focusing on God, things are going to turn around for me. You can't just sit around. I can't just sit around and pray all day and do nothing. I got a job out. I need to do something. I sent my resumes out October, November, and heard thousands of resumes. And I thought my resume looks awesome. I focused my whole life on this thing, and I've accomplished a ton. I didn't really get any response other than, no, thank you, we've gone with somebody else, or nothing. So I took a job delivering pizza. And that's helped my family stay alive, and I got to continue to hustle and do the things I need to do as a man to provide for my family and provide for our security. So as another side note, if you live in Foley, Alabama, and you tip your pizza driver, wherever you live, and you tip your pizza driver, you tip your servers, man, that's a huge blessing. And thank you so much. Every dollar is appreciated, every dollar. And I just felt compelled to tell you, thank you. Thank you for those things. Lastly, I looked down today and we have 87 subscribers. So I'm so glad everyone's here on this journey with me, that you're taking a little bit of time for God, to put God in your life, man, I just hope it's as much as a blessing to you as it has been for me. It's been absolutely amazing. And I want to give a special shout out to the real Zach B. You put a comment on there and said you found me on YouTube just from exploring. That's just awesome. That's what the power of all of us subscribing and this channel getting bigger. Someone I've never met in person in real life, someone that I don't personally know, through technology was able to find this channel. So, and thank you, Zach, for leaving a comment and letting me know that. Man, you made my whole day. So hope you're here. Hope you're getting something out of this. Without any further ado, we're going to get into Job 38 and 39. Job 38. God confronts Job. Have you gotten to the bottom of things? And now, finally, God answered Job from the eye of a violent storm. He said, "Why do you confuse the issue? Why do you talk without knowing what you're talking about? Pull yourself together, Job. Up on your feet. Stand tall. I have some questions for you, and I want some straight answers. Where were you when I created this earth? Tell me, since you know so much. Who decided on its size? Certainly you'll know that. Who came up with the blueprints and the measurements? How was its foundation poured? And who set the cornerstone? While the morning stars sang in chorus and all the angels shouted praise. And who took charge of the ocean when it gushed forth like a baby from the womb? That was me. I wrapped it in soft clouds and tucked it in safely at night. Then I made a playpen for it, a strong playpen so it couldn't run loose, and said, 'Stay here, this is your place. Your wild tantrums are confined to this place.' And have you ever ordered morning? 'Get up,' told dawn, 'get to work,' so you could seize earth like a blanket and shake out the wicked like cockroaches. As the sun brings everything to light, brings out all the colors and shapes, the cover of darkness is snatched from the wicked. They're caught in the very act. Have you ever gotten to the true bottom of things, explored the labyrinth caves of deep ocean? Do you know the first thing about death? Do you have one clue regarding death's dark mysteries? And do you have any idea how large this earth is? Speak up if you even have the beginning of an answer. Do you know where the light comes from and where darkness lives, so you can take them by the hand and lead them home when they get lost? Why, of course you know that. You've known them all your life, grown up in the same neighborhood with them. Have you ever traveled to where snow is made, seen the vault where hail is stockpiled, the arsenals of hail and snow that I keep in readiness for times of trouble and battle and war? Can you find your way to where the lightning is launched, or to the place from which the wind blows? Who do you suppose carves canyons from the downpours of rain and charts the route of thunderstorms that brings water to unvisited fields, deserts no one ever lays eyes on, drenching the useless wastelands so they're carpeted with wildflowers and grass? And who do you think is the father of rain and dew, the mother of ice and frost? You don't for a minute imagine these marvels of weather just happen, do you? Can you catch the eye of the beautiful Pleiades sisters, or distract Orion from his hunt? Can you get Venus to look your way, or get the Great Bear and her cubs to come out and play? Do you know the first thing about the sky's constellations and how they affect things on Earth? Can you get the attention of the clouds and commission a shower of rain? Can you take charge of the lightning bolts and have them report to you for orders? What do you have to say for yourself? Who do you think gave weather wisdom to the ibis and storm savvy to the rooster? Does anyone know enough to number all the clouds or tip over the rain barrels of heaven? When the earth is cracked and dry, the ground baked hard as brick, can you teach the lioness to stalk her prey and satisfy the appetite of her cubs as they crouch in their den, waiting hungrily in their cave? And who sets out food for the ravens when their young cry to God, fluttering about because they have no food? 39. Do you know the month when mountain goats give birth? Have you ever watched a doe bear her fawn? Do you know how many months she is pregnant? Do you know the season of her delivery, when she crouches down and drops her offspring? Her young ones flourish and are soon on their own. They leave and don't come back. Who do you think set the wild donkey free? Opened the corral gates and let him go. I gave him the whole wilderness to roam in, the rolling plains and the wide open spaces. He laughs at his city cousins who are harnessed and harried. He's oblivious to the cries of teamsters. He grazes freely through the hills, nibbling anything that's green. Will the wild buffalo condescend to serve you? Volunteer to spend the night in your barn? Can you imagine hitching your plow to a buffalo and getting him to till your fields? He's hugely strong, yes, but could you trust him? Would you dare turn the job over to him? You wouldn't for a minute depend on him, would you? To do what you said when you said it. The ostrich flaps her wings futilely, all these beautiful feathers, but useless. She lays her eggs on the hard ground, leaves them there in the dirt, exposed to the weather, not caring that they might get stepped on and cracked or trampled by some wild animal. She's negligent with her young, as if they weren't even hers. She cares nothing about anything. She wasn't created very smart, and that's for sure. Wasn't given her share of good sense. But when she runs, oh, how she runs, laughing, leaving horse and rider in the dust. Are you the one who gave the horses his prowess and adored him with a shimmering mane? Did you create him to prance proudly and strike terror with his royal snorts? He paws the ground fiercely, eager and spirited, then charges into the fray. He laughs at danger, fearless, doesn't shy away from the sword. The banging and clanging of quiver and lance don't faze him. He quivers with excitement, and at the trumpet blast races off at a gallop. At the sound of the trumpet, he neighs mightily, smelling the excitement of battle from a long way off, catching the rolling thunder of the war cries. Was it through your know-how that the hawk learned to fly, soaring effortlessly on thermal updrafts? Do you command the eagle's flight and teach her to build her nest in the heights, perfectly at home on the high cliff face, invulnerable on pinnacle and crag? From her perch, she searches for prey, spies it at a great distance. Her young gorge themselves on carrion. Whether there's a roadkill, you'll see her, wherever there's a roadkill, you'll see her circling. Day 14 recap, Job 38 through 39. Finally, God speaks. Sometimes when God has been silent, it doesn't even matter what he says. You're just happy to hear him speak. God's words here are no exception. These chapters are a treasure. First of all, you may remember what we learned about the Lord on day 1 in Genesis 1 through 3. When we see it in all caps, it's a reference to YHWH, which is often pronounced Yahweh or Jehovah. It's God's personal name. So right out of the gate today, God is interacting with Job on a deeply personal level. This flies in the face of what all Job's friends said would happen. They said Job would continue to get God's silence and that his consequences would increase all the more if he didn't repent. Well, he didn't repent, and yet God shows up here speaking to him directly, intimately. When God first starts speaking to Job, his words have nothing to do with Job's problems. He begins by establishing who he is. That's because everything else is secondary. He establishes himself as the creator and commander of everything. He initiates, sustains, and fulfills everything in accordance with his plan. And he makes it clear that his attention doesn't just fall to the things we consider to be of the utmost importance. In fact, he even ordains and orders the details of the food chain of the animal kingdom. The lion hunts at his command. He's the one who feeds the ravens. He tells the eagles where to build their nest. He's attentive to where birds build their homes of sticks and straw. So he's certainly attentive to what's happening to Job. Speaking of straw, there's a possibility we encountered a prophecy about Jesus in Job 39:9. Is the wild ox willing to serve you? Will he spend the night at your manger? A few thousand years later, Jesus is born in a cave where the animals are kept at night, and Mary lays him in a manger, which is a feeding trough for the animals. There's a good chance an ox keeps Jesus company that night, and of course, the sovereign God of the universe, who is outside of time, would know all those details before they played out. So it feels like he's dropping a little hint here. Another thing you may remember is that earlier in this book, Job got sarcastic with his friends. In 38:21, God speaks to Job in his own language by using a little sarcasm as well. He's been asking Job all kinds of questions about the creation of the universe, and he says, "You know, for you were born then, and the number of your days is great." He isn't calling Job old. He's calling Job out for not being eternal. It's almost like he's saying, "Listen, were you there? I don't remember seeing you there. Oh, right, that's because I hadn't made you yet." God puts Job in his place, and rightfully so. He invented Job, the one who is questioning him. So Job gets a bit of subtle, firm rebuke here. But you know what he doesn't get? He doesn't get God's anger. God doesn't strike him dead. Instead, he patiently reminds Job of the truth. Today's God shot. God draws near to Job despite what everyone says, and God responds to Job's questions, even if he doesn't answer them. We can question God. After all, that's part of what happens in a relationship. He's not threatened by our questions, but he's also not required to give us any of the answers we're seeking. Job's story reminds us to hold our questions with humility and ask them with reverence. Even your questions are a place to remember who made you and remember who loves you. He's the God who hung the heavens and feeds the ravens. He's the God who draws near to Job even after Job questions him. He's your creator, he's your father, and he's where the joy is. Thank you for tuning in today, and hope you got something out of that. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.